Another Wednesday night, and you are live on ATV's Adult Class. Yes, together with GNTV, we are bringing to you Adult Classes. Me, myself, the one and only Papa Kwamuna, and more. You can call me Mr. Smooth. From today, we're looking at something really exclusive. I'm sure there are many people who are looking at this issue, but I tell you, can teens decide to engage in anything sexual? Today we are going to look at all that you need to understand before you decide to have sex as a teenager. How would it affect you? Your progress in life, your education, your general health, your brain development. We're going to be looking at that in Mr. Smooth's classroom. And after Mr. Smooth's classroom, we're going to become interactive with you. Welcome back to Adults Class, and it's me, myself, the one and only Papa Kwamana. You can call me Mr. Smooth for short. And like I said, today we'll be looking at something really exclusive, something really interesting. What we are going to be looking at is very serious, and I would urge that if you have a teen, call the teen to come to the television set and watch what I'll be talking about today. It is Adults Class. It only happens on GNTV every Wednesday from 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. Great. So here, today we are in Mr. Smooth's class, and we'll be looking at all that a teenager needs to understand before he or she decides to engage in sex. Now, the first thing I'm going to talk about is, what is sex? When we talk about sex itself, what are we talking about? Now, I would define sex as any intimate contact between two individuals that involves arousal, stimulation, or one person responding to at least one or two partners. I call that dual sexual cultivation. That is for my Eastern background. And then also, if one person is lying down, sitting down, and also stimulating him or herself, we call that solo sexual cultivation. That is also sex. But in a nutshell, I can say that sex is actually defined as an activity or a bodily contact that is meant to derive pleasure or sexual gratification. So if you do it alone, we call it solo cultivation or solo sexual cultivation. And if you do it with a partner, we call it dual sexual cultivation. And basically, that is what sex is. In the hour erection, my male patcher in there, say you can sex, your patcher there. Being no nye besia, ye culture, ye viaza ye wom in Ghana. You can sex, you can be in on your besia, could say, you can be in a besia. I am not talking about those things. I am not interested. But the fact here is the being in on your besia, Ushia, Nasa woods won't have grow. Na when you're atting Cambia, free more yenuma. The matin kind of worrying yan on your friend sex. The woods so womo, womia won home, woods won't grow. That is what we call romance sex, especially when the male organ enters the female organ. And already it's also there. It is only sex, or it's only in sex that somebody's part of the body enters another person's body. A part of his body would enter another person's body. It only happens when you're having sex. And it's amazing. That is the only act. Na se wanga so wo ho, na se wanga so enyu hu zagro, na se enyadam atenkan ya merkan ya. While so we call that sex, it can be masturbation, but it's also, so long as you are deriving pleasure from what you're doing, you are having sexual gratification one way or the other, and I afraid or no mono cultivation, solo cultivation. That is how we call that. Great. Now, adrenaline, or the brain, is the biggest sex organ, and then we need to understand that the brain is made up of different segments or different sections. We have 4 or 5 different sections, and I need you to see those sections. And then we say that the brain is the biggest sex organ. the brain is the biggest sex organ. Sexual excitement is all centered around the brain. Bibia offer benin no nyi besia won hiem wo sex agreement. Ningina adrenaline only the key part. And it's also possible to stimulate even when you are not having an orgasm. You can stimulate to achieve an orgasm. You can even stimulate or get the brain activated even when you're not having any physical contact. Or patch there. Ebotuma drain ho, botuma drain de nyi besir da, ebotuma drain de be enyi benyin da, no hunsano. And that is why the brain becomes the most powerful sex organ. It is so important that we understand the segments or parts of the brain. Like I said, the brain is divided into 4 main parts. I'm going to show you the 4 main parts, but I'm going to concentrate on the frontal lobe. The frontal lobe, which is the around that area, the face, the frontal lobe. I'm just going to show you some stuff about the other parts of the brain and what they do, but I'm really going to concentrate on the frontal lobe, especially for growing children, what it actually means. Now, let's get going. Now, when we look at this part called the brainstem is actually responsible for arousal and consciousness. While you are growing, while you are developing, this part of the brain is responsible for arousal and for consciousness, and all information that passes all around the body passes through this area. Yadren area han ma oyani there. It's responsible for your basic attention there. Basic attention, arousal, and then also it passes, all the information passes through this part of the brain. It's very important that we understand that. Now we're looking at the second part of the brain, and the second part of the brain actually controls these 2 endocrine systems, the thalamus gland, and then the hypothalamus gland. So we need to understand, those of you who are already students of the adult class, I have already talked about all the endocrine system, and I'm sure if you want more information about what these endocrine systems mean and what they do, just get to my YouTube channel, Papa Kwamna Mr. Smooth. You will find it there. And then we also have 2 other sections of the brain. One helps you be able to identify, or it helps the process of information, be able to process information. Very important part. And then there's another part that helps you identify color, helps you be able to discriminate between white and red and different colors, and then movement processes, and then allows you to form your brain and allow your brain to actually process stuff. Into yadren ni so ba ye ni meaningful and ambisaful ye hon kutegzima yadren unu here papa oh but manu here kesepani the frontal lobe. The frontal lobe ono is responsible for solving problems, memory and language, judgment, impulse control, social and sexual behavior. Them party nampede yet there. When you are young and this part is not properly developed, it becomes really difficult for you to make permanent decisions based on whether you want to be with a woman or you want to be with a man. That is where we are taking our lessons to today. So here, look at how the brain looks like when you are 5 years. Trace the blue part of the brain. When you are 5 years, look at the blue part. It means the brain is not properly developed. It is now developing. When you are 8 years, look at the blue part. It is now forming. When you are 12 years, the blue part is still forming, which is leading to more maturity and helping you to be able to make better decisions, be able to assess what is fear, what is dangerous for you, what is not dangerous for you. This is the part of the brain that is developing while you are aging. And then once you hit 16, yes, enough of the brain is developed. But look at how the brain looks like when you hit 20 and above. Then it is fully matured. Then you can make such permanent decisions. So still, I would say that in your teens, your brain is still not developed enough for you to make certain permanent decisions. One part change there, say Isha, na say a wo teens ma in the 20 no corner. Why didn't unyining, undeveloping enough able to make permanent decisions offer there more one many beginning kada, many be kada. Why didn't unjina ye, unyini ye enough for you to make that permanent decision? Now yes, this part of the brain nibble, what it does. Now say Esha, a bone there. This part of the brain and are responsible for our judgment. It is responsible for seeing the future. It is responsible for seeing how behaviors can affect our future. It is responsible for moral intelligence. It is responsible for abstract thinking. It is responsible for seeing what is not just obvious. It is responsible for planning the future. It is responsible for rational behavior. It is responsible for understanding rules and social conduct. It is a wide reason only say enough to be able to understand wide reason all when you are often the prefrontal cortex, and if it is not matured enough, when you are not 20 and above, even sometimes say ekona say 20 years in the 25 record, that's a current car on far more because when you know I could drive car, you are dreaming way able to the car in accident. Around that time, and yesterday, 16 years are into Muntuaba. 16 years into Muntuaba, or then 16 years to me. Why do we allow that to happen? It's simply because we are not studying these things. We are not seeing the relationship between the brain development and our sexual life and our sexual activity. And that is what I'm trying to expose here. You will see here that fear simply meaning forward thinking, assessing risk, abstract thinking, impulse behavior control, behavioral control, and decision making, and rules of social conduct. When you are in your teens, this part of your brain is not developed well. So the question I am asking you here is, why don't smart teens have sex? Why is it that when you are smart, usually smart teens do not have sex? One of the commonest things you can link with this is if you know about Sir Isaac Newton and you know the sort of things he contributed with his brain into this world. Do you believe that he died a virgin, never had sex, and these people that I've listed their names here never had sex all their lives? But these people were very smart guys. They were very, very brilliant people. So that idea that people have and keep confusing our young people that if you don't have sex, you become foolish, you become Jimmy and all this stuff. It's crazy. It is not true. There's no science backing that. And I'm going to prove everything I'm saying here with science and research. So you don't just say that I'm talking, I'm just talking. What I'm saying, I'm going to back what I'm saying with research work. That their libido is high. So we can say that there's a correlation between intelligence and sex drive. Smart people usually have a very good sex drive. But it doesn't mean that because they have a good sex drive, they just go around having sex. And research is finding a link between intelligence and sexual drive. So what we are looking at today is why teenagers should not engage in sex. That is what we are looking at today. Why teenagers should not engage in sex. There are so many other research work that shows that yes, people with very high sexual libido, high libido, and we can equate them with their intelligence. It doesn't necessarily mean that because you have high libido, you should just go and have sex. That is why Napoleon Hill talked about sexual transmutation. That is why you can move the sexual energy from the sexual organ into the brain. You can use for creativity. You can move the sexual energy into other organs and other parts of the body that will allow you to become a better person, that will allow you to grow and become better people. And I'm saying that there is a high relationship between intelligent quotient or IQ. People with high IQs usually are not trapped in this everyday frequent sex thing. People who really have high IQ are not the type that engage in sexual activities often. So you should know that while you are engaging in this sexual activity while you are in school, it will affect your education. It will affect your thinking processes. It will affect your growing processes. And I can tell you statistics upon statistics, research upon research, and I tell you that young people who actually delay sexual activity end up becoming really, really brilliant. And I can tell you that research is showing that there's a connection of teen virgins that are very, very highly intelligent. There's that link there of teenagers who are virgins that are very, very highly intelligent. So you should understand that some kids are just shy. Some kids are nervous. They are unable to just come out. And some kids have different properties. Some kids are just awakening to this high school thing, and most people end up not seeing anything sexual while they are schooling. It is true that smart teenagers are not sexual. Almost or most intelligent people find that random sexual activity as boring and not significant. You can see that. That is why we call them Jimmy Jimmy and Bulu Bulu and all those things. They don't see that those things are significant, and they are the ones that grow up to change the world. They are the ones that grow up to impact our generation. So intelligence is negatively associated with sexual frequency. Into the more any miss afford than the more I do. Basically, that is what I'm saying. The more I am meaning for someone, the more what we know. The more I engage in sexual activities, that is when you become dumb. So most times you will see that people who are highly intelligent have a very limited number of sexual partners, and those who are not that intelligent have several. They can't even count the number of sexual encounters they have had. So it is important to understand that once you are in your teens and you start engaging in these sexual activities, it affects your judgment, it affects your decision, it makes you impulsive. You are unable to control yourself, and then also it messes up everything, and they tend to have fewer partners and less sex, but resourceful. Those who abstain from sex, when you miss a phone dantem, they end up having fewer partners, less sex, but more resourceful. It is important to understand that when you are teaching your children, when you have children, you let them understand these things. And I've deliberately put a lot of materials on my PowerPoint presentation, so you just don't say that I am just saying it. Money and intelligence. Money and not intelligence. I'm saying that money and not intelligence helps men have more sex. I'm saying that money and not intelligence helps men have more sex. But men who are intelligent would always make money. Let's get it. Most people just bump into money and then they use the money for sex. But intelligent people, they will make money and not use the money for sex. So let's understand that. So people who are very, very sexual most times have money, but they are not that intelligent. And you can tell. From everything they say, you can tell. So first sexual intercourse, first sexual encounters, once delayed, helps young people become better. Good. Now, there's so much research work, and I would want you to see it. There's so much research work demonstrating the link behind academic performances and later sexual activities. Many of them, and I would want you to see them here so that you don't just say that I am saying it. I remember saying this on one sister station, and there was a doctor who was saying that what I'm saying is not backed by science, but this is what I'm showing you. I am proving it to you here. Mustafa, let them see it. I'm proving it to you here that there is science behind it. There is research behind it, showing that sexual activity in your teens affect you physically, mentally, psychologically. And then also, most people who engage in sexual activities in their adolescent age never end up finishing school, never end up getting their grades as they wanted, and then it becomes problematic for them in the future. They hustle and hustle and hustle and end up doing all the shady things and all the connections and stuff. And we are saying that once you delay sexual activity, you'll be able to finish your education, get better education, get better levels of better jobs to do, and live a better life. Research suggests intelligence is inversely associated with age. So as you are aging, the first time you had sex is also very important, because it tells on you, it affects you, it changes you, and it also, studies is showing that association within the link. Routine while you are growing up, while you are schooling, concentrate. Yes, the sexual feelings will come, the desire for sex will come, but once you start engaging in this activity, once you become sexually active, you are going to have problems. We are saying that once you test the IQ of people who are not sexually active against young people who are sexually active, you'll find out that those who are not sexually active have a higher IQ than those who are not sexually active. And then also, pregnancy, unwanted pregnancies, sexually transmitted infections, you hardly get those things when you're not sexually active in your teens. So you need to check all these things. Smart and motivated teenagers have higher aspirations in their future. They're not looking at just the physical and sexual pleasure. They are looking at how to make themselves better, how to improve their lives, how to get better things for themselves. They're not looking at that sexual, basic little sexual gratification. So it's important to understand that. One now, what do from my what do one there when you're baby papa be or brabwoman. One for one shall mean for some when they are kids, because when you're dead, what one shall them mean for some name is for summer. I mean, opinion now when you share, I would do that as anything important, because in Kawama medals are in Kawana, if we're giving medals for men sleeping with women, by this time some men can't even stand upright because the weight of their medals will be so heavy. But what is it? What do they achieve? Basically nothing in life, just pleasure, and after the pleasure there's nothing more. So it is important that you abstain from sexual activity, delay the sexual activity, just to safeguard and secure your future accomplishments. Because if you don't do so, your life will not become what you want to become. And I can tell you, Papa Kwamna, I am saying here that if you take what I'm saying serious, if you start putting what I'm saying into practice and abstain from these sexual activities in your teens, you would grow to become better. You will grow to become more intelligent and become more useful to our society. Great. There are certain things that I would also want young people to understand here. First of all, yes, I have established that it is true that there's a higher link between intelligence and sexual activities. Yes, I'm sure that with all the research I'm showing you today, on my PowerPoint presentation. You are seeing it, and then we are saying that if you decrease your sexual activity and pleasure, you would rather increase your IQ and intelligence. You would actually become better off as a teen. You become better off, you grow better than people who actually engage in sexual activities. Now, I want to get to a part that would let you understand that timing of sexual intercourse, intelligence, and academic achievements are all complexly intertwined. Listen to it. I'm saying that timing of sexual intercourse, intelligence, and academic achievements are complexly intertwined. They are linked together. The na are mature well enough before you start doing these things, and they are all connected. And say that's equal. There are several problems that you can face as a young person. Now, there is some analysis that I would want everyone to understand. There are 3 stages of love. I have done this before. The first stage is lust. Most people think that they are in love. Actually, it is lust. Lust is just hormonal, estrogen and testosterone. The female hormone estrogen and then the male hormone testosterone playing with your head, making you think you are in love. And then once you are unable to control this feeling that comes from just the male hormone, because definitely once in your teens you have an erection. Once you're in your teens, a man will touch you, you feel horny, you feel wet, you feel like something should happen, something sexual should happen. You are human. If you don't feel those things, then it's abnormal. Yes, if in your teens, if a man touches you, you don't feel anything, it's abnormal. If a woman touches you, you don't have an erection, it's abnormal. These are normal. Young people should understand that these are normal. And every young person goes through that. Yes, you go through it. So it's important to understand that, yes, every relationship will go through, even that love that you say will go through stages. The first stage is the last. The second stage is the attraction phase. The attraction phase actually comes with a lot of hormones. Adrenaline will set place. Your stress response will also be there. Your increase in cortisol levels. Cortisol is your stress levels will be there. And then you become your attitude and your reaction becomes calm. Serotonin sets in when the person that you think you love is around you, and it is something that you should look at. Now, dopamine plays a very big role in all these brouhaha we are talking about. Dopamine is a hormone, or is a happy hormone. Is that hormone that makes you do the good things, the bad things without caution. You remember you're driving or riding a bicycle and overtaking 10 cars, and you tell yourself that, hey, telling me that I'm a super rider, but your brain never tells you you're going to die or you're going to fall and get hurt. It is dopamine that is fooling you. It is that same thing that when you start using drugs and start using alcohol in your teens, makes you feel like you're a Superman. The same way when you start having sex and your dopamine levels go up. When you see every man, you start shaking your butt, trying to attract every man that comes your way. This is just hormonal. It is nothing. It is not love. It is just a stage in growing up. And it is around that time that you're supposed to learn to control yourself so you don't get messing up. So you see, serotonin will also set in, and once serotonin sets in, yes, once a man is around, you are calm. Once a man is around, your mind is go. When the man is not around, your mind is going round. Okay, when you baby, and I be sodom, and I be in a shadam, and then be in a bano will full giddy is simply because of your cortisol levels going up. That's your stress hormone. And then once the man comes around and comes to talk to you quietly and holds you, hugs you a little, and then serotonin sets in, and then you calm down. Temporal mental disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder, abadam kaka. That is the early stage of people who say they are in love. We need to understand this. We don't have too much time, so what I'm going to do is, yes, next week, God willing, we'll go into a little more details into this very subject, and I'm going to unfold every little bit that you need. Now, unfortunately, most people end up attaching themselves in a relationship before the right time comes. And then once you start having sex, the hormone oxytocin, neurochemical called oxytocin will come. Oxytocin is the bonding chemical, that same bond that bonds babies and their mothers. When you hug for more than 20 minutes, yes, your oxytocin levels goes up, both men and women. And most people, most women, or most times, oxytocin is higher in women, especially when they have sex and have an orgasm. And we have also vasopressin. Vasopressin is also a hormone that controls the man's mind, and it's the key determinant whether the man is going to be with you in a relationship or not. So the man himself has no control. Sleeping with you doesn't necessarily mean he's going to marry you. Let me say it. So being in your down and shadow pel. Being between you down your down and on your one day, the vasopressin levels are very, very high. Or did at some point be a baby or bayamo? Or you're more winners on your down, not the two, that is it. The relationship is over. The man has no control over that. And don't think that at the whom I begin now, and I begin to say, and Yamanda, say, I do whom I begin bodo. I tell you, he has no control over that. It's amazing, especially when they are young people. You can't make such permanent decisions in your teens. You can't make such permanent decisions in your teens. I'm saying it again. You can't make such permanent decisions in your teens. Because if you make such permanent decisions with temporal feelings, you will regret. You don't make permanent decisions based on temporal feelings. And love is not a feeling. You get it. I mean, you need to get it clear. Clear. Love is not a feeling. It can't be a feeling. And that is what you need to understand. Now, what happens? What happens when teenagers have sex? What happens? First of all, sex is it has a powerful impact on your thinking abilities. Sex has a very powerful impact on your thinking abilities. Very, very powerful one. And so we should take note of that. And then, like I said, dopamine is secreted into the brain. And once dopamine is secreted into the brain, it has an impact on the way you react. You become excited, you become happy when the guy is around. You, even when the guy is cheating on you, you'll be saying that, oh, let me go and do one last one. It makes you feel good. It makes you feel good. You are open to adventure. You are open to take risk. You are open to even drug activities. I mean, would want to take drugs just to, even some people want to kill themselves because their guy or their girl is leaving them. And unknown that most people end up at a psychiatric home. So being down about them is simply because it affects the brain. It affects the brain. So once you are maturing, you need to take your time. You need to take your time and not rush into sex. And most people who do that, there's violence in there, there's risky behavior, there's a threat to your adolescence and to your future, including final structures of the brain will not really develop well. So you need to look at that. I remember saying that oxytocin, vasopressin affects you. So intercourse releases its hormones, oxytocin largely in females, vasopressin largely in males. And I tell you, these would bond you. And like I said, these are involuntary chemicals that will make you commit to somebody that you are not, you are not supposed to commit to. Have you wondered why a girl will be working with a guy? The guy is cheating. Nanso still nebesian watena ho ontumi nje on onyu we so how do security edu security is also you mesiafo some and so still you can't leave. So these bonding hormones would actually keep you in a relationship even when the relationship is toxic. You will still be there. Being a bro or bro we are no one more case kakanyo wada onyu de we that's all we yefu. That is one of the reasons why we don't have to engage in sexual activities while we are growing up. All right, so I would want to pause here because my time is up. I have just about 10 minutes left, and then I'm going to activate the phone lines. We get a few phone calls. Next week, when we come, we would continue from where we left off. But I tell you, the adult class currently, like I keep saying, is the most educative adult show in the whole of this country. It is only on adult class that you get to learn some of these things. And I'm sure that if you are watching, you have learned something new, and I just didn't say it. I showed you all the research work backing my claims that there's a direct link between growing up, intelligence, and having sex. Mama kanye de irinyina onye de enye behin anapesiada, because it will have direct impact on your life. Next week moba make sure inyama ekro ebien no nye base bia se enye menyina da wo teenage age abo teens mu a or affecto ebi onye de wadwen kran onyin o body onyin mesima wo sex organ not are sexually active okaho de bo hu de aye penyina wie na obeyin kakraba aye besie wie na wa seketekete. Is simply because you became sexually active early. I'll prove to you with research here on Adults Class. So we would have to run out of the studios, and yes, my contact is on the screen, 0244661011. You want to share anything with me, you can call and then we can talk. So here, thank you very much for being with us. And I'm sure you've learned something really exclusive today. And like I keep saying, Adult Class is the most educative adult show in the whole of this country. My name is Papa Kwamina. You can call me Mr. Smooth. Next week, God willing, we're going to continue from where we left off. And then we're going to show you some very serious stuff that could happen to you when you engage in sexual activities in your teens. Yeah. So here, if you've learned something, thank you for watching. I want to thank the entire ATV crew. I won't forget Mr. Richmond Kilsing. I won't forget Mustafa for sitting in for making this happen this evening. I won't forget Eugene and the entire GNTV ATV crew for allowing Adult Class to come back here on ATV and GNTV. I love you all. Be good, and we'll see you next week for another wonderful class. Thank you for watching.